Okay, let's talk about something we all dread. That awful, heart-stopping moment of a car crash in Miami. You're in shock, right? And you'd think the insurance you pay for every single month would have your back. But what if they don't? What if they have a secret playbook designed to do the exact opposite? Well, we're going to dive in and show you exactly what's in that playbook.
So there you are, shaken up. Maybe you're in pain, and boom, you're suddenly dropped into this super confusing process. And here's the thing. The truth is, what you do in those first few minutes, those first few hours, can literally be the difference between getting the money you need to recover and walking away with nothing.
All right, let's get one thing straight, and this is super important. Your insurance company? They're not some neutral referee here to help. Nope. They are a business, a for-profit business, and their number one goal is to protect their bottom line, which means paying out as little as possible. So from the second you file that claim, you and your insurance company are on opposite sides. And to do that, to protect their profits, they use a whole playbook of tactics. Their goal? To delay, devalue, and flat out deny your claim. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. And in the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how to read their playbook so you can beat them at their own game. And believe me, the game starts the second the crash happens. Those first 14 days are absolutely critical. The clock is ticking, and the insurance company is just waiting for you to make one little mistake.
So here's page 1 of their playbook. You know how adrenaline pumps through you after a crash? You might even think, hey, I feel okay. So you wait a day or two to see a doctor. Well, the insurance adjuster pounces on that. They'll say, if you were really hurt, why did you wait? They're already building their case against you.
And in Florida, the law actually gives them the ammunition to do this. There are these two huge deadlines you've got to know about. First, the 14-day PIP rule. You have just 2 weeks, 14 days, to get medical care, or your own insurance, your PIP coverage, might not pay a dime. Miss that window, and you're out of luck. But wait, there's more. Even if you make it in time, your doctor has to officially say you have an emergency medical condition to get your full benefits. I mean, these are basically legal tripwires just waiting for you to stumble.
So what's your countermove? You have to be proactive. Go see a doctor right away. I mean it, even if you feel fine. This creates a rock-solid, undeniable link between the accident and your injuries. And then you have to follow through. Go to every single follow-up, do all the physical therapy, and keep every single piece of paper. You're basically building a fortress of medical evidence that they just can't break down.
Okay, next up in their playbook, the evidence trap. Think about it. If it's just your word against the other drivers, guess who the insurance company is going to believe? It lets them create their own story, right? A story where maybe you're a little bit at fault, which conveniently for them means they pay you less.
Your countermove here is to become an evidence-gathering machine. The first thing you do is call the police. You need that official report. Then pull out your phone and take pictures of everything. The cars, the damage, the street, any injuries you have. And hey, if anyone saw what happened, get their name and number. The story from a total stranger is incredibly powerful proof.
All right, so you've handled the immediate aftermath. Now you enter what I call the insurance maze. This is where their playbook gets a little more sneaky, you know? It's all about paperwork, hidden deadlines, and tricky verbal traps.
Let me be clear. Time is not on your side here. We already talked about that 14-day medical rule. But there's an even bigger, scarier deadline called the statute of limitations. In Florida, you generally have just 2 years from the date of the crash to file a lawsuit. If you miss that deadline, it's game over. Your right to get any compensation is just gone, forever. This is one of the biggest traps. You're on the phone with the adjuster, and they sound so friendly, right? But they are trained to use your own words against you. You might say something totally innocent, like, yeah, I think I feel fine, just trying to be polite. What they type in their notes? Claimant states no significant injury. Or maybe in the confusion, you say something like, I'm not sure, it might have been my fault. They write down, admission of liability. Seriously, every single thing you say can and will be twisted.
So why are they so obsessed with twisting your words? It all comes down to this magic number, 50%. See, in Florida, there's a rule. If a jury decides you were more than 50% at fault for the accident, you get nothing. Zero. Zilch. So their whole game is to try and shift just enough of the blame onto you to push you over that 50%.
And you know, sometimes it's not even about the crash itself. The reason for a denial can be buried deep in the fine print of an insurance policy. Maybe the policy was canceled for non-payment, or the person driving wasn't even listed on it. Or maybe the other driver has no insurance at all.
These are the kinds of technicalities that can shut your claim down before it even gets started.
Okay, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles you'll face. Getting your medical bills and lost wages paid is one part of the puzzle. But what about the actual pain, the suffering, the way the injury has changed your life? Well, in Florida, getting money for that means you have to clear a really high legal bar.
It's something called the serious injury threshold, and what it means in plain English is that you can't just tell a jury you're in pain. You have to have a doctor prove with medical evidence that your injury is permanent. And this is a favorite defense for insurance companies. They'll argue, oh, it's just a sprain, it'll get better. Why? Because if it's not permanent, they don't have to pay you for your suffering.
So what does the law consider a serious injury? Well, it's pretty specific. We're talking about a permanent injury, something that a doctor says will never fully heal, or a significant loss of a bodily function, like you can't lift your arm all the way anymore, or major permanent scarring. It's a very high standard, and you can bet the insurance company will fight tooth and nail to say your injury doesn't meet it.
And the only way to counter this? You guessed it, documentation. It all comes back to the medical records. You need a doctor to put it in writing that your injury is permanent. This usually happens when you reach what's called maximum medical improvement, basically the point where you're as good as you're going to get. Getting that specific opinion from a doctor is everything.
So, let's recap the playbook. They question your injuries, they twist your words, they use every legal loophole and deadline they can find. The whole system feels stacked against you. So how on earth do you fight back? How do you level this incredibly uneven playing field?
I mean, just look at this matchup. On one side, you have you. You're hurt, you're stressed out, you've probably never been through this before. And on the other side, a multi-billion-dollar corporation with entire teams of trained adjusters and experienced lawyers who do this all day, every day. It's not a fair fight. It's not even close. To them, it's just another Tuesday. To you, it's everything. This, right here, is the ultimate countermove. The moment you hire an experienced attorney, you're sending a message to the insurance company that their standard playbook just isn't going to work this time. Now, they handle the phone calls, so you can't be tricked. They're the ones gathering the evidence and building your case. And they know what your claim is really worth, not just what the insurer wants to pay. Most importantly, they bring the threat of a lawsuit, and that's the only thing these companies truly respect.
And please, remember this. If you get a letter in the mail that says, "claim denied," that is not the final word. It's almost never the end of the road. Think of it as their opening move in a negotiation. There are almost always options, whether it's an appeal or taking them to court.
So, after all this, it really boils down to one simple question. When you're in a crash, you have a choice to make. Are you going to try and navigate their maze playing by their rules, or are you going to get your own playbook and your own team to level the playing field? The choice is yours. Whose playbook are you going to follow?